really don't know what it is. It's a cultural discussion. Welcome to.
My family comes from Romania, and there's this old circus family there that was acquainted with my family, and they have a story which I think is really, really beautiful. The story of their family. They did this circus act which was never replicated, and they actually passed it down in their family from generation to generation. And if any of you guys know the history of circuses at all, you know that there's almost never been an act in the history of circuses that hasn't been replicated. And it was really special, a special thing. And what the act was they were incredibly sickly people, and they were always coughing, and they almost never talked. And they'd be backstage, and they wouldn't talk to any of the other performers. They'd just sit there silently, and they'd kind of go out on stage hacking, and they'd just sort of stand there in the center ring, hacking, and not doing anything, and the crowd would be watching and just kind of waiting, and there'd be this bizarre, uncomfortable silence, everybody waiting to see what was going to happen. And then they'd slowly open their mouths and begin pulling European cities out of their mouths. Perfect replicas of European cities, block after block, recognizable, I mean everything completely recognizable. They were dehydrated. They were dehydrated European cities. And nobody else ever did this act. And the secret was that they kept the little pellets, the little dehydrated pellets in between the fingers. When they went to the mouth to cough, they'd drop a different pellet in the mouth, which would be full of saliva, which they'd been gathering in seawater for about an hour and a half, which is why they hadn't talked. And, but anyway, the really wonderful thing about it is the way that they kept their secret, because no one ever, the secret really was how they made the dehydrated little city pellets, European city pellets. And they managed to keep the secret by never actually saying the secret in words. Generation after generation, they taught their children these songs, and then when they got old enough, they taught them the code. It was a musical code. It was a musical code, and that was the instructions on how to make the dehydrated cities. And what happened was that as modern culture encouraged on Romania and circus culture, eventually there wasn't anybody left who understood the code anymore. And so all that's left is the songs.